This isn't related to anything we were discussing pre-recording. However,
thank God.
You want to hear about the most, maybe not the most, one of the most relatable songs in all of the musical theater canon?
Ooh.
Okay.
I sure do.
So I have been listening to the 2023 revival soundtrack of Camelot a lot. Number one, because I just like Camelot. Camelot a lot. And also I saw Camelot when I was in New York.
Yes.
And I was like, well, this has unlocked something in me now that I've seen it, even though I already like the soundtrack. So I've been listening to the soundtrack a lot. The soundtrack is very funny. There is a song. The premise of this song is it's very early on in the musical. Arthur is waiting apprehensively for Guinevere to get here because they've arranged a marriage to like settle the building or the war between England and France, and so Guinevere has been, essentially sold off in marriage to him, but they don't know each other. So Arthur has just sung a song about how terrified he is, as you do. And Guinevere is running around in the forest, runs into him not knowing that he's Arthur, and is like, my name is Guinevere, I'm a French princess, I've been sold off to marry your king, and if you help me escape, I'll give you this dowry. And he's like, you don't want to marry the king? What? And she's like, no, I only just reached the age of eligibility and wooability. I would like to experience the simple joys of maidenhood. And so the song is called The Simple Joys of Maidenhood. And then she proceeds to sing this song about how all she wants is to experience the simple joys of maidenhood. And what these simple garden variety joys involve knights battling for her honor and youths so overcome with wanting her that they leap to their death and being placed on a pedestal and worshipped. And I was like, this is the most relatable song, because where are the simple joys of maidenhood?
Where's the courtly love?
Where
is it?
What's the shall a feud not begin for me? Shall kith not kill their kin for me? Where are the simple joys of maidenhood? That is the most relatable. Where are they? Where are the men leaping to their death in woe for me? Where are they?
I don't know. Real talk, I had a whole course in college about the art of courtly love, and it was the best class ever. It was so much fun. And it was parallels of where courtly love was and how it's transferred into pop culture, and the end was take a piece of media and write an essay on it. I mean, the amount of One Direction songs you could it's real fun. I don't doubt it. No, so we read a bunch of different books on it, and it was Eleanor Day something Octane, or I don't know, not Octane, that sounds like Fast and Furious. Aquitaine, that's the one. Look at you, you're so smart. There were a lot of really fun ones, and it was just so interesting to see, because she was once you take this course, you're never not going to be able to see all of the influences in culture. And I'm like, you are so right. And I still think about it. I wish I had my notes. I was so stupid.
There's you haven't read The Raven Cycle, have you? By Maggie Stiefvater?
I tried, and that was the most confusing audiobook I've ever listened to.
Sure.
I was
you have to not pay attention to the plot.
I didn't.
Doesn't really matter.
I was like, what?
Yeah, the plot's like insane, and you just roll with it.
And I couldn't tell who she was supposed to end up with, and then there was the ghost boy.
So there is the ghost boy. That's true. Those books unlocked something in me, but that is my favorite.
So that was me with the Wolves of Mercy Falls by Maggie Stiefvater.
Okay,
Sam the Wolf. Ooh.
Okay. Well, see, I meanwhile was in love with Gansey, who is the king, if you will.
the king.
That's literally how he's referred to throughout the series. He's a king. But it's because he's searching for this dead Welsh king. So they start the series with her seeing his ghost on this on St. Mark's Eve, which means he's gonna die within the year, and
That's unfortunate.
It is. And then she meets him in real life after that and knows that that's the kid who's supposed to die within the year. She, meanwhile, is she comes from Blue is her name. She comes from a family of psychics, but she's not psychic. But every time anybody has foretold her future, all they know is that she's gonna kill her true love with a kiss. So she basically just can't kiss anybody. Anyway, she starts out with one guy in this friend group, and they're flirting.
Yeah.
And then very quickly, well, not very. It's a 4-book series. I failed pretty quickly. The affection transfers, if you will, to Gansey, the love of my life. Yes, he's a high schooler. It's fine. But they can't kiss because she might kill him because she doesn't know who the love of her life is. And they also know that he's going to die within the year.
Mm-hmm.
And there's all this magic and stuff. So while they're dating, they have to be really careful. And number one, very medieval. Like, the entire series has heavy medieval overtones. Second of all, Maggie posted, she was like, this is the painting that inspired these two characters. And it is, I don't know the name of it, but I have it saved to my Pinterest board because truly it did unlock something in me. It's this painting. We can link it if I can figure out what it's called. Of this, like, knight and a woman, lady, maiden, I don't know what she is precisely, and they're walking past each other, like, on a spiral stone staircase, and he's, like, his face is buried in her arm, which sounds weird, but when you see it, you'll know what I'm talking about. But it is the longing, the tension, the meeting on the turret stairs is what it's called.
The meeting on the turret stairs.
By Frederick Burton, painted in 1864. That is all I want in my romance novels. Listeners, look at this.
Oh God, he really is.
This
like,
is
let me get a sniff.
Let me get a sniff. I want the feeling that this invokes at all times.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I feel that.
She wrote, I think it's in the third or fourth book, there's a scene where they're at a party and there's a very similar, like, on the steps moment that invokes this vibe. I don't know if it's like this, I don't think it's this pose, but they're like, it's very tension filled and they know they can't kiss. So it's like that courtly love thing where they can't really touch or express that affection in any way, but it's very intense.
I know.
Anyway, the way I was going to segue into the book for today was, where are the simple joys of maidenhood? Like being tied to a dam, and waiting for the tide to come in and kill you, only to be rescued by your beloved. I'm so sorry if you spoilers for The Secret Lives of Country Gentlemen by KJ Charles. Welcome to Romance Your DVR.
We are your humble and ever faithful hosts.
Oh, yes, we are.
Yeah.
That was a wild scene, but also I feel like, I know he's not a maiden, but I do feel like that qualifies as one of the simple joys of maidenhood that I have yet to experience personally.
Mm-hmm. What would be the male version of
I thought about that because, like, boyhood doesn't sound
Ew.
Like, that's not the equivalent of maidenhood. I don't think there is one.
Because I guess, like, they didn't really want virginity. Like, it wasn't really like.
Yeah.
Huh. We've already stumbled upon an unanswerable question. I love that for us. It's our yonic. We've done it again. I mean, this book is really just about the simple joys.
You can't say of boyhood, though, because
no, not of boyhood,
so
just
wrong.
of marsh life.
The simple joys of marsh life.
Mm-hmm. I'm just so fat. I'm like, what led to the marsh? Like, what did KJ Charles, like, what led to the marsh being the marsh that it was, you know? It's just such an odd and interesting description and, like, way of life that I had just never encountered before.
I feel like it has to be, I mean, I have no idea what KJ Charles' writing process is like. It feels like one of those things that she was probably researching and stumbled on something, or, like,
I know, like, I want to know.
Or, like, maybe, I mean, I think she's English. Maybe she, like, has visited towns like that. And obviously in the modern era, it is 2023. But I have no idea.
Yeah. Just what a wild, good book.
I do love a unique setting. And I love when the setting is kind of its own character. And
it really was. And it was just so fascinating. And I was just like, I want more information on this marsh. I can talk. I'm okay. We're fine.
I also do love, Gareth and, I haven't read this.
Joss.
I love Gareth wandering around finding bugs.
I know, and he's like stumbling upon like
They're like, this
smuggling,
suspicious man is
and
on to us, and he's like,
and
beetles.
the one guy was like, so what are you doing here? And he's like, I'm just wandering around. Like, I can't say I'm looking at bugs because that's weird. And the guy was like, well, you're still weird. And then he gets home and he's like, yeah, this one guy who's like giving me weird vibes. And she's like, yeah, because it's a smuggling den. And you just were on trial. Like, you were just like recanting your
Like, you're a fucking snitch. You cannot be snooping around the smugglers.
And he's like, no, I don't want to do with smuggling. I just want to look at my bugs.
He really did just want to look at his bugs.
It was just such a fun setup because the book starts with Gareth and Joss having like a fling at like a bar or whatever. And they get into a fight because Joss is like, I have to go home for a little bit. But Gareth is like, he thought he was leaving forever, and then he didn't like how he felt because it was sad. And he's like, I don't want to be emotionally attached. And so then he like said mean things to Joss, and Joss was hurt, and they left. And then like 2 days later, he inherits. Is he a?
I think isn't he like a baron or something?
Yeah, I think it's a
the lowest.
baron, yeah. So he inherits that because his father died. His father like he like shipped him off to live with his uncle when he was a kid. Never cared for him. But then he had his new wife. They had a kid. Then she died. Then he took up an affair with her sister. And then when the father died, he didn't leave anything to the sister or the daughter, but he left everything to the son, which was weird. So then they had to kind of like all live together in this house kind of awkwardly because the daughter didn't know he existed. He just thought that she didn't want him there. Like like I don't know what her relationship to him would be. The older one.
I have no idea.
Her name is Catherine. I guess I'll just say Catherine. So there was kind of like the found family. I mean, they were family, but refining that relationship. And then obviously like Joss has a huge family, and he's like the kingpin of the marsh. And Gareth has no clue that he is.
Their ongoing affair was all anonymous.
Yeah, it was London and something else.
Wherever the marsh is. Look, I don't know.
Kent.
You read this more recently than I did.
I got it. Look at that brain of mine. Scientists want to study it.
That's a good thing.
Well, yeah, you win some, you lose some. And so it was all anonymous, and then he gets to town. He stumbles upon the smuggling operation. He sees a woman smuggling. He's like, well, that's interesting. And then he blabs to his half-sister and her, like, suitor type guy who is basically just a big old snitch. And so then that guy is like, oh my gosh, I think I know who you're talking about. We're going to go arrest them. This is great. And then Gareth is like, I did not intend for that to happen. And then he finds himself on the stand trying to, he's like, I have to, like, smuggling is bad.
This poor man.
He's like, so confused.
Minding his business, truly. Or at least attempting to.
He attempted so badly.
To him. So many things happen to him.
Life comes at you fast. Like, so he's on the stand, Joss walks in, and Joss immediately is like, yeah, I don't think you're telling, like, I think you've misremembered. Why don't you think about that? And then Gareth is like, oh no, he's going to blackmail me because I could get arrested for being gay. And so then he's like, classic. Oh yeah, classic. So then he's like, oh yeah, I completely misremembered. Like, that was not her. I don't think that was her, at least. And so then she gets off. Oh my God. She gets off.
But not in a fun way.
Not in the fun way. And then it's basically, well, then
is the next book hers? What's the next
book? It's Luke. It's 13 years later. It's the little 13-year-old boy who was like getting, yeah, so like I just requested it on NetGalley because I was like, well, I just read the first one again, so I might as well. I was gonna wait for the audio, but I was like, if it's the same narrator as this one, I just have he's just not my favorite. It's like kind of the same situation. I think he's pretending to. I don't know. It seemed like a fun premise, but I was surprised to see that it was the 13-year-old in this book, now 26 in that one. And so then, like, someone attack, like, two, like, men attack Gareth's sister, and so then he thinks it was the, gosh, what are their last names?
The Doomsdays?
Yes, Doomsdays. Look at you. The Doomsdays. And then he goes and, like, meets Joss again, and they have a conversation. And they just, like, work it out. And then there's no real conflict between them for the rest of the book, which was really nice and fascinating. And it was just, like, all, like, external, and then them just being cute. And
I mean, there are conflicts.
yeah, but they, like, worked them out, and it was never...
kind of have conversations.
Mm-hmm. And it was really nice. Like, it was just... I mean, that part was peaceful. And then and then the last third of the... Well, really just chapter, like, 23. It's
oddly cozy for a book where people are getting, like, kidnapped.
Yeah.
And, again, tied up to wait for the tide
to
come in.
So then I was so shocked when chapter 23 was, like, the most stressful thing of my entire life.
It was pretty stressful.
It was like,
obviously he's gonna get rescued.
Well, yeah, like,
why am I stressed?
I was like, what's gonna happen? I was like, I don't like seeing, like, the main characters get, like, abused and, like, punched in the face and, like, knocked around. I'm like, no, don't hurt him. He's so sweet and innocent. And then it was just a lot happened in chapter 23. And then I guess we're just gonna get right into it. My favorite part of the entire book was when it's, like, chapter 24. Joss just rescued him from the whatever it's called, and the dam, and his cousin was one of the kidnappers, and it was, like, some rival gang leader's, like, brother who is, like, working with Gareth's father for smuggling too. And then when the father died, they assumed Gareth knew where, like, the money and treasure and stuff was buried. Oh yeah, there's like a treasure hunt.
Yeah. What an external plot.
Right?
I don't remember any of it.
The reason he was kidnapped is because they thought he could, like, lead them to the treasure. And then he gets rescued, but then they, like, come back, and the one that's not his cousin is like, okay, I'll just do, like, I just want my money, because he was, like, gonna be kicked out of town, so he just wanted the money. And so Gareth is like, yeah, okay, I'll give you the money, but you can't give any to my cousin because he sucks. And the guy's like, actually, I will kill him if you want. And in every other book, they would say, no, don't kill him. That's bad. Gareth was so fucking angry. He's like, yeah, kill him. And he got shot. And I was like, it was, like, technically, like, the cousin, like, got scared, and he, like, scrambled for the gun, tried to get it, and then he got shot that way. But Gareth was like, yeah, no, just, I'm okay with it. And it was great. And I was just not, it, like, made up for, like, the stress sweat that I was, like, losing by the gallon in chapter 23 or whatever. Because he was just like, yeah, I'm angry enough, and you're a terrible person. And then and I was like, wow, I've never respected anyone more at this moment.
I mean, I do love Joss.
Mm-hmm. I love them. They're both great.
Just the whole Doomsday clan is so funny. They're so funny. It's been a hot minute since I've read this book, so my memory is hazy. But I do remember being obsessed with the sister.
Mm-hmm.
I do remember being obsessed with the little kid. Doesn't his dad, like, get stabbed? They kill the dad, right?
Yeah, so the 13-year-old, so he's like, Goldie is his nickname. His real name is Luke. And he is Joss's cousin, I think. His mother's uncle is terrible. He's been abusing, like, beating up the kid. So then Goldie, like, at one point, like, tries to get in his father's good favor, and he tells him that, like, Joss is, like, sleeping with Gareth because he, like, saw them in, like, a shack or something. And so he's kind of, like, a little, like, hellion throughout the book, but he, like, ends up, like, saving the day. He, like, finds Gareth at the end. And so it's a constant, like, worry for Joss, because his mother is, like, the matriarch of the clan, and she doesn't want anything bad said about her brother, and, like, she sees the best in him, where Joss is like, no, he's an abusive asshole. And so it all comes to a crux when he, like, slashes Goldie's, like, face with, like, a knife, and then he ends up getting killed by the two kidnappers. Like they were all kind of like working together, and then he was like sacrificed for some reason. He was like found neck broken, I think, in like a body of water in the marsh, I guess.
I mean, good.
That's the most relevant body of water. Yeah, no, Josh was like, I don't care.
Specifically because Gareth was like the only one who would use his real name, and that was like the one thing that would like actually reach.
Mm-hmm.
It was.
I know.
Now I'm emotional.
Well, and then on that, it was because when the guy was getting killed, Joss was sleeping in Gareth's room at the house. So then it was like, do we admit, like, if anyone like thinks that he did it? Ends up that his family, like, they all kind of like find out within their sphere that they're like in love. There was a really sweet moment at that time with Catherine, the like acting mother of like his like half sister, when Joss is gonna like sleep over, and she's like, do you want me like to make a bed up for him? And he's like, yeah, well, why don't you? And then she's like, but I could also not and say I did. And like it's just like a really cute understanding between them. And I was like, oh, they're so sweet. And it was just so nice and a little bloodthirsty, which worked.
Like an alarming amount of thunder happening.
Ooh, I can't hear any of it, but I do love a rainy night.
It's just bizarre.
I see it in my eyes.
Because it's oh good, it's come down to 98 degrees. So it's always
thundering at 98 degrees.
Yeah, it's always jarring to me.
What's the humidity like?
It's been humid for days to the point where every time I walked outside wearing glasses or sunglasses, they would immediately fog up, and it's just been like that.
That's wild, because we have had the opposite situation where the air level qualities are so bad here because there's no humidity, and so that was lightning.
You saw that?
I sure did.
All right, it was just really loud thunder. Everything is fine.
And so the ozone is like being depleted because there's no humidity, and then we can't go outside.
Oh. Well, so I managed to be in New York City on the week of the
you were
the smoke,
the crazy air quality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was truly sepia toned outside for a couple of days there.
What in the Dust Bowl?
And I was like, what in the Dust Bowl indeed? Pardonzo beans? And so I was like, why is this like on the 1 week that I'm here? Yeah. And my parents were like not thrilled that I was there, but I was like, it's fine, guys. I'll wear a mask when I'm outside.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. There was definitely a day, because initially I didn't know to wear a mask. Yeah. Because I like did not realize it was happening. And I also, my nose is still like not fully back. I had COVID a long time ago, and like it affected my sense of smell. That's crazy. So everybody else could smell the smoke and I could not.
Oh, and you couldn't?
So I didn't realize it was happening. Because especially like I was staying in Brooklyn, and Brooklyn was not, at least at first, it was not as sepia toned as Manhattan. So I went into Manhattan and was like, wow, it's like really gray and reddish and gross. And then other people started being like, guys, wear your masks. It's really bad. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess. But even wearing the mask, I got back to the hotel at the end of the day and was like, like hacking. It was bad. Anyway, and then I came back to a week of like 100, 101 degree highs. Ew. And now a thunderstorm. And it's still 98 degrees. So
disgusting. Do you get tornadoes in Texas?
Not in my part.
Okay, I was like, that doesn't scream like a great situation. I'm like, if you have that level of humidity and like,
I mean, I'm not gonna rule it out completely. We've never even had a tornado warning where I am though.
Damn. Well, good. That's a good damn. Damn.
Damn indeed. As opposed to being tied to a dam, which is less.
That's a bad
ideal. Dam. I would much rather be living in the marsh right now. It's true. Yes.
Although, actually, the mosquitoes. Fair,
I almost. Oh, that's true. Mosquitoes love me. They really do.
Mosquitoes love me. I know, same. It's bad.
They want to eat me up. I
never trusted narcissists, but they love me.
It's true. It's true. They do love me. So maybe if I just walked around in one of those, like, net
I'd have to.
suits.
If I was in the marsh.
That's true. The humidity, I imagine, would be pretty bad, too.
Yeah, not great. And they have, like, this is unrelated, but they have, like, their own, like, dialect and, like, set of, like, language in the marsh. It's, like, it's just a crazy setting.
I love it.
I know. And, like, the second one, definitely, it in the blurb it was like a Regency Gothic or something.
Oh.
And I was like, oh yeah, okay. Because I was like, I could see where it's like getting into that vibe with this one, like
Yeah.
a little bit at the end there. But I'm ready for.
It does have a
book
setting
2.
that works for a gothic.
There's also that Erica Ridley one. We talked about it a long time ago. It was like Too Sinful to Deny and like there's like I read the first one, which was really good. And then I got like halfway through the second one. And then I think my loan ended, so it was just a really long book, and so I have to go back and read it. But she could like see ghosts in that one, because the first one, it kind of like scooted around the paranormal, and it was like, is he a murderer? Like, is she like sensing all this? And then
I love
it was
paranormal
really good.
examples.
It was really fun. It was kind of like After Midnight by Teresa Medi. Yeah, I think that's actually the conversation that we brought it up last time.
Yeah, because I wanted to read it during Halloween, and I just didn't get to the Erica Ridley.
And so whenever there can be the gothic vibes, I'm excited. I'm excited for Gaywick too. Chels just had a TikTok about it. And I'm like, ooh, I bookmarked that for later.
I am excited for that one. I just read Mortal Follies by Alexis Hall, which isn't. It's not gothic, but it's dark.
I've heard it's dark. So I have the audiobook, and I have tried to start it 3 separate times. My brain cannot process, because I'll be like trying to work or like doing other things, and so I have to like stop, restart, because like I don't want to miss anything.
Yeah, it's when you
because the narrator, she's the one who narrated A Caribbean Heiress in Paris and An Island Princess Starts a Scandal.
Really good.
She's amazing, and so like I've loved what I've heard. I just can't get past an hour and a half because my brain starts to like spark, and
you do have to pay attention. It's also, so it's narrated by Puck. And so there's a lot of like third person commentary. Like it's somebody telling you the story, not just like an anonymous third person narrator. And so there's a lot of like commentary and dry wit from the narrator on that. So you have to keep track of the story, but also the person who's telling you the story. So it's not one you can just like throw on necessarily. But oh my god, it was written for me, really, is what it was. Like I could see how somebody would like not enjoy it. It's like the Wisteria Society in that.
Well, that's what I thought when I started it.
Yeah, they live in the same category of my brain, even though they're very different stylistically. But it similarly is like, if you don't like this, I understand. However, it was written for me, so it doesn't matter if you didn't like it, because the target audience was satisfied, and the target audience was just me.
That's me. I just read An Earl to Remember by Stacey Reed, and that was written for me. Like historical Stacey Reed, Overboard, Amnesia. Like you couldn't have written a book more suited to me. And literally, because I had read like 7 contemporaries in a row. I didn't even realize I was doing it, but it just happened. And I was like, oh, I need like a historical. And I picked it up and I started. I was like, oh my god, this is why I love the genre. It was so good. That man was such an asshole, but he was so lovable.
Oh my god, this is not even a little bit related, except for that comment. When I saw Shucked on Broadway, back to Broadway, there's a character in that show. It's a comedy. It's very silly. It's about a town with a lot of corn. There's a character in that show who is a con man from Tampa, and so he comes to con, like somebody from the town comes to find somebody to help save the corn, and he like, for reasons of his own involving the mob, ends up like conning his way into coming back with her and pretending to be in love with her and to be a corn doctor, as you do. And he's just like, he's like a slimy but lovable type of con, and he like falls in love with the cousin, and it's very cute. And so I went to the stage door afterward, and some of the actors came out and were signing, and he came out, and he's this like very tall, handsome man with a great voice, and he played this super fun character, and I was like, don't tell anybody, but you're my favorite character. And he was like, oh, like nobody ever says that. I'm gonna tell everyone, like nobody ever says I'm a favorite character. And they make multiple references to like how much of a douchebag he is, or like he's such an asshole or whatever, and I'm really bad at talking to people. And so I didn't know what to say after he said that, and I was like, well, I love an asshole. And like he was like, he didn't like make, he was like, oh yeah, you know, like Simon moved on, went to talk to somebody else. But I was like, what a weird thing to say, Caroline. Who but you ever just look a man in the eye and say, I love an asshole?
I can't say I have. But now the next man I see, that's gonna come out. It's all I'm going to be able to say.
I hope so. It just happened.
That I heard. That thunder was deep.
It is rumbly. Oh, the horse is out.
Uh-oh.
And I don't want to put her up in this. Maybe she can just stay out.
Best of luck, Lucy.
Oh, she's fine. During Snowmageddon, she would literally, there was like feet of snow on the ground.
Yeah.
Like, we're not at your level, but there was some bad snow last winter and the winter before.
Mm-hmm.
And so in the barn, we've got like heat lamps, like things set up so that she can go in the barn if she, like, the door just stays open. She was just standing in the middle of the paddock in the snow.
She's a meme.
In feet of snow. She doesn't, like, wear blankets or anything, or, like, she'll rub them off, so she wasn't. We just, like, turned the heat lamps and everything on so she could go into a warm place. She didn't care. She stood in the middle of the snow. We were like, what?
She's like happening? Reverse Olaf.
She also, it's 101 degrees, so every day she comes in from grazing and she's, like, sweaty as if she had just been ridden. And it's not. It's just a bazillion degrees outside. But that sure doesn't stop her from being like, let me out right now to eat the food.
She's a character.
I once looked outside during a thunderstorm, and she had been out grazing, and she was just kind of standing under a very small tree taking a nap.
She'd thrive in the marsh.
She would thrive in the marsh.
She's just standing in the middle of the marsh. How did I get here?
Lucy knows how to roll with just about anything.
Yeah. Love that for her.
So yeah, if anybody can handle the marsh.
Us, on the other hand, we say we like asshole.
We do.
Oh my god.
I love how my entire screen flashes.
This is vicious. And it's the, like, when it's gonna rain here, like a thunderstorm is coming, it gets like a sepia tone. And so, like, it also, it could be like green.
Are you hearing the repeated rolling thunder?
It's crazy. I can, like, I hear a little bit.
Okay, well, it was just, yeah, it was.
But I could see there was a time when your camera lighting is shifted and it was like very green because I feel like that's like the weather coming in, and I was like, oh, that's relatable. A little bit of Shrek.
Little Shrek.
Back to another green thing, the marsh. Marshes here are green. I don't know if they're like LG infested over there, but we're gonna go with it.
You said LG, and I thought you were starting LGBTQ, and I was like, well, I guess so. Like, the
marsh is also gay.
It could be. Who are we to assume?
No,
the marsh is pansexual, if anything. The marsh is loving of all. Except if you fuck with it, the marsh fucks right back with you.
It sure does.
And not enough.
It's like the ocean.
There's a reason Ariel got out.
Yeah. Maybe it's not better down where it's wetter. So that's our hot take.
Yeah. I Bed Bath & Beyond done with the ocean. I'm done. I'm not.
That is relatable.
You know I'm not Bed Bath & Beyond done with, though?
I was trying to figure out a segue.
The marsh. I don't know. We keep getting off track.
I'm like looking at.
I have no notes.
I'm looking at my notes. So we've talked before about how the narrator is like not our favorite.
True.
There was a scene, and he says, "Fuck me like you're pirate." I swear I heard parrot. I heard "fuck me like your parrot," and I was like, "What?" But like the narrator, he was a choice. It was a weirdly narrated book.
Liked the way he performed the people. I liked his performance.
I liked Gareth's.
I just didn't like his, like, there was the
he's very choppy. Stilted. Yeah.
Like I was like, why?
I think it worked. I think part of that worked for like some delivery. But he did the entire thing in that delivery, so it like...
Well, and when I started, I thought maybe it was just like a POV thing. Like,
yeah, but it wasn't. It was the entire book
the narrator.
Yeah.
I mean, it was one of those things that like eventually I was able to kind of...
Yeah, like I have liked the book both times. Like it didn't impact that, but I did request the second one on NetGalley because I'm like, if I just read it now, I won't be tempted by the audiobook, at least at the beginning. And that may save me some struggle. Fuck me like your parrot. That one, I should get that one tattooed on me because both times I recall, because like it did it to me again this time. I just was not prepared. They had bread and cheese twice.
Love that.
So I was thriving on that. And they like made specific reference to it. So I'm like, oh yeah, KJ, you know. You get us. Just having my little secret lives of eating bread and cheese. I love bread and cheese. And you had bread and cheese recently to get over at a shitty day. You know, it really just solves everything.
It did. It did. There's also, I read a rule book for Restless Rogues.
Mm-hmm. How was that one?
Out in July. It was really great. I enjoyed it a lot. Very sweet. But one of the characters, Noah, is like basically the same as me in that he's an Italian study abroad kid. He studied in Milan, I want to say, which is not where I studied, but regardless, he now just like uses little Italian words and turns of phrase. And it's like generally fucking annoying about it in an endearing way where you're like, we get it, you studied in Italy. Relatable of him. But apparently he brought back with him the art of snacking, and so there's a scene where he brings up like fancy meats and cheeses and like a good Italian spread, and then also English tea. And that's like and they have bread and cheese and tea, and that's his version of
hell yeah,
like tea time is. And he's like, wow, he really learned how to snack in Italy. And I was like, you know what, you're right, they do know how to snack. I can confirm.
I love bread and cheese. We just had brie, which is cheese, and bread recently, and it was so good.
Brie, which is cheese.
Well, it's like a different bread and cheese experience. This one's like
it's a soft cheese.
It's a soft cheese, yeah.
Which is its own experience. It's true.
It really is. So I took note of both times they said bread and cheese because I was like, I felt that on a spiritual level. What I also felt was I think, like, I don't know what his sister's name is. I don't know. But there's a line where Gareth is like, no, it was Catherine talking about her. She's like, she has very strong views, but they tend to change a lot. And I'm like, that's me.
Big relatable.
Because it was like the guy who was like courting her. They were like, yeah, he has very strong views. And then Catherine was like, yeah, she also has very strong views, but they just change a lot. And like, it doesn't work out for them.
That's so relatable of her.
I was like, I see myself. I see that. I'm like, yeah, like I'll like fight to the death for one thing and then like immediately be like, oh wait.
Well, my problem is I start in on something with I get
and then
really strong and then I realize I'm wrong, but I've already committed.
Yeah. We talked about this, I think, after we recorded our last one. That was me with sherbet and like sherbet. Why is it? I didn't know there was no R in the second R. And it's still a hill I'll die on, even though I'm wrong. So that was fun. Because like halfway through the argument I was having with my friend, I Googled it. So like I have the knowledge that I was wrong, but I was like, I can't back down.
The worst is when they're like, look it up and you know you're wrong.
Yeah.
So you're like, no.
I can't. Google's broken.
I've looked things up and proven it and still have people be like, no. And I'm like, I am holding the evidence.
That would be me with sherbet. I can't. I don't even like it. Like, I think I've, like, restricted myself from even, like, thinking about it. Because, like, I don't want to have to say it. I don't want to have to deal with it. I sure don't want to eat it, so. It's my enemy. It's my kryptonite.
It's a weird kryptonite.
Yeah. But it could be green, so it fits. Just like the marsh and Shrek. Look at us.
We're really bad at getting from the off-topic tangents back onto the topic.
These bad or impressive.
These segues leave much to be desired. Unlike this book.
Yeah. It didn't leave anything to be desired. It was just great.
I mean, I love interpersonal conflict. I do. Mm-hmm. I eat it up. However, sometimes it's nice to just be like, there's a smuggling clan.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to kidnap you and cause problems. And you guys are just going to have to deal with that and also fall in love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was just so well written. It was funny. Really, it was just a good listen.
AJ Charles' writing. Everything I've read of hers is
Mm-hmm.
Quite good.
Yeah. So it did the job. And I don't have much else to say.
I don't either. I just really love the Marsh. We've said that a lot already.
The Marsh is the main character.
The Marsh is the main character. The Marsh is that girl.
The Marsh is that girl.
Fact.
Facts. I have a note. Call me a Marshman and tell me you love me. Because he called him a Marshman at one point.
Okay.
Call me a Marshman and tell me I'm pretty.
I guess it's better than Martian.
Call me a Martian. Yeah. Yeah, no. We've already got the ocean. We don't need to go to space.
Yeah, I'm good. I don't need either of those things.
Mm-mm. But yeah, it was just a really fun story. Like, there was like the external stuff going on. There was them just like being cute and falling in love. Also, the way that I need for my health someone to break down sobbing and the other one to just like open their arms and the other one just like runs in, and that happened like at the end. I was like, oh my god. I got like semi kind of happened in she wasn't sobbing, but in the Stacey Reed one, just like whenever a character opens their arms and the other one just like jumps in, it's just so sweet. That also ties back to Cressley Cole.
I was gonna say, isn't that a Valkyrie thing?
That's the Valkyrie thing.
No.
And guess what Rydstrom does?
After Dark reference.
He opens his arms. Guess what Sabine does? Hops right in. So that imprinted on me fundamentally. I've actually been fighting the urge to reread, so who knows? You'll see on my tracker. Together. I can't. I just need that one. Just a little hit.
You always say that.
I know. Because they're just so good. And I bought all the audiobooks during the Audible sale. I'm stacked. That sounded weird. I think I just need water. Didn't mean to make that sound growly.
Stacked, bro. Yeah. I've got all these fucking paranormal romance audiobooks.
And then Audible had a 2-for-1 sale today, and they had the Lenora Bell that's my favorite. So then I had to get that, and then there was Lorraine Heath, the one where the guy is like, why don't you knock up my wife? And it was a whole thing. So I got that one on audio. I've been having really good luck with audio sales. And now I'm just like, wow, I just want to listen to those, but I have other commitments. Which is unfortunate.
I mean, I saw like one quote from Devil in Winter and almost dropped everything to reread it. So
I did see that, and then you shared it.
I was like, what if, I have a bazillion books that I have to read as quickly as possible because there's a post that I'm trying to make, but I have these books that I want to read for the post, and I'm like, I better do that quickly.
But what if
instead I dropped everything to reread Devil in Winter?
You could. It'd be quick.
I shouldn't.
But you could.
I could, in theory. I probably won't. Because I have slightly more self-control than you.
I was going to say, yeah, I'm not that strong. Because, like, immediately, like, if I would be, like, approaching, like, a slump or, like, if I would read something bad, I need to, like, self-medicate with a reread. Like, I reread The 7-Year Slip, and good God. I forgot he had, like, a southern accent. And normally I didn't think it worked for me. But that narrator, she knew what she was doing. And he's still hot. Oh my god! And then he's a cook or he's a chef, and then the Stacey Reed when she's a chef. I just love chef books too. Girls gotta eat.
Except that you would just eat bread and cheese.
I would.
So
that is so true. Girls gotta eat bread and cheese.
So do guys.
Now that's a sticker.
Girls gotta eat bread and cheese. Well, so do Gareth and Joss.
Yeah. Well, we've engaged in a bit of light bread and cheesing. They've engaged in a bit of light baronetting. It's a quote. It was funny it was like, actually I cannot tell you the context. But Gareth says that he was engaging in a bit of light baronetting, and I was like, ha.
I thought you just made that up, and I was like, no. Okay, side-eye.
No, I'm actually not Shakespeare incarnate, but that's so great that you thought so. Like, thank you.
Will.
What can I say? I'm flattered.
I don't know that I would have taken it as a compliment.
Everything's a compliment if you squint hard enough.
I guess.
Or if you make that noise.
Just not really so sure about that.
No. Mm-hmm.
The fact that it got dark and rainy at 6 p.m. really has taken me
harshed your vibe.
It harshed my vibe to the max, bro.
And this is the longest day of the year. That's really unfortunate for you.
Today's the longest day of the year?
Yeah, June 21st.
It got dark here at 6 p.m.
That's so unfortunate.
I mean, it's actually great. I despise the summer.
Oh, yeah, you would. Because of the 100 degrees and the heat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love my Birkenstocks, so I can't hate the summer. I love the ease of just, like, putting on a shoe and not having to, like, have a boot and snow.
See, I love a boot. I despise open-toed shoes. So,
my Birkenstocks are my best friends. They're so good. Well, we've done it.
We sure have.
Mm-hmm.
It's just very windy.
Ugh.
I can, like, hear it. Oh, the rain has hit. It wasn't raining here before. It was just
and now
thundering.
it is.
Oh, my mom has all these my parents are in Tokyo, as you do, and my mom has left me in charge of all of her various potted plants, and they're, like, set all around the porch, and the porch is exposed, and things tend to blow off the porch. But I don't know what she wants me to do. Like, I can't bring the plants inside. You know, whatever happens, it is what it is.
Yeah, that I don't envy you, because you'll get real wet out there.
True. Nothing but facts.
There's an old episode of Drake and Josh. They're having a party. It's, like, raining crazily outside. Drake is like, it's not raining that hard because they had to, like, get somewhere or something. Walks outside. A few seconds later, walks back inside. I got wet. I think about it all the time. It's a great episode.
Okay.
I got wet.
Sure.
Marshes are wet. There's the correlation.
Yeah, that's the tie.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry, guys. We're so good at staying on topic. Can't you tell? Isn't it abundantly clear?
Abundantly. It's very fertile. It's rife with the clearness. The clarity. Mind you.
Fertile. There's no tie back to The Secret Lives of Country Gentlemen.
Mm-mm. Well, this was mortifyingly chaotic.
You know,
of us.
I don't know what we were expecting.
I don't either. I really don't either.
I'm so sorry to anybody who's like, oh, they're going to talk about The Secret Lives of Country Gentlemen. Love that.
Well, we started off pretty strong.
We didn't really say much interesting about it, though. It was kind of just us being like, here's the thing that I enjoyed about this book. That's it.
That is very true. Like, there was no great debate.
It was a great book.
Mm-hmm.
There was no great debate. It was just great.
No. The Great War was not to be found. It was just the Great Marsh.
It was a great marsh.
Mm-hmm.
It was the best of marshes.
It was also the best of marshes.
It was also the best of marshes. It was the worst of dead dads. He was a garbage dead dad.
He was bad.
That's it. That's all I've got.
He just it was like, it's the best of smuggling. It's the worst of smuggling.
Well, that's true.
Mm-hmm. But the marsh is the main character.
Fact.
Main character energy goes to the marsh.
Make the little award.
Humid girl summer.
It really is humid girl summer here. I don't need to go to the marsh. I've already got humidity and mosquitoes.
Ugh. Disgusting.
Disgusting. The amount of flies, they're everywhere.
Oh, they are prominent. And little gnats.
Ugh.
And then they bite. I'm like, when did gnats start biting? When did evolution allow that?
They're so small. They
I
gotta do
know.
something.
I know. But if you get coconut vanilla bath and body spray, gnats hate it. And it'll give you a small reprieve.
Well, it turns out gnats and I have something in common.
Sad.
I don't want to smell anything that smells like food.
Oh, we have had this conversation before.
Like, no sugary. The only kind of scents I want are, like, natural, floral, or other natural scents.
Mm-hmm. I love a good gourmand, like, sweet moment. I posted about it. I, like, got Glossier U because I've heard really good things about it. And I'm like, it's for me. Oh, my God, it smells disgusting. I think it's just, like, my body chemistry reacting with it because, like, it smelled fine. Like, when I just, like, sniffed the bottle, I was like, ooh, that smells really good. I sprayed it on me, and it smells like a grandma's feet. It's bad. I'm like, what in my body made this thing smell like feet? Because, like, the main scent is, like, pink pepper. I've never smelled it before. I was like, I don't know. It's pink. I like pink. I don't know. And it smells like spicy pencil shavings.
My mom, I got the book perfume.
Ooh. Oh, yeah, you did. Yeah.
A long time. It was in winter because I like different smells for different seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And so that one's like it's like androgynous, kind of cedar, smoky. Like, it's one of those kind of scents. And I like it. It doesn't really smell like a perfume. It's like a, like a
book.
Gender neutral cologne. Like, it's kind of that darker, like smokier, incensey type smell, which I like, at least for winter. I wouldn't wear it now. But I came down the other day, and this was a long time ago that I bought this perfume. And my mom had like a little sample bottle, and I thought it was maybe mine because I had originally gotten a little tester set of different sample bottles, but she had a little sample of, it's not the same strength. It's like the really bold, expressive one, so it smells more strongly than mine, but she had it, and she was like, hey, do you want this? It reminded me of something that you would wear. And I was like, well, that's because that's
it's just stronger
that I wear. And she was like, oh yeah, I really didn't like it. And I was like, the perfume that I wear? Like, it's the perfume I wear. And she was like, yeah, it smells musty. And I was like, at no point have you told me this. Like, huh?
It smells musty.
Yeah, she was like, yeah, it's gross. I was like, Mom, I've been wearing this. I mean, not now, it's summer, but like, I wore it through the winter. Like, why didn't you say something when I first tried the perfume? Like,
roasted. Smell musty.
I was like, okay, well, you wear musty smelling perfumes all the damn time, so whatever.
Glossier U is musty.
I'm really sorry.
Thank you.
That you have to smell like that when we could smell like the marsh, if only we knew. Actually, it probably smells disgusting.
I was going to say, I don't think a moist, marshy scent is what I'm going for.
You don't want to smell marshy?
No, but I do think the marsh would smell better than Glossier U. That's my bold take of the night. And I was so excited. I was just like, the curiosity got me. It really got me. I was like, what does it smell like? I was like, does it smell like me? No. Unless I smell really bad. Let's hope not. Pour one out for me.
Oh, God. Okay, well.
Yeah.
I need to go feed some animals and hopefully not get struck by lightning in the process.
I wish you all the luck if you happen to, like, notice a guy out near some body of water who's, like, trying to catch this, like, lightning in the sand and then the glass, and then Sweet Home Alabama starts playing, and then Reese Witherspoon is there, and then the guy who was opposite her. Say hi for me.
Yeah, so I doubt any of that sequence of events is going to be occurring to me.
Have you seen Sweet Home Alabama?
No.
Oh, so that's why this is just so confusing. Okay. Well, that's great. We
I
need
thought
to do.
this was Percy Jackson related, and I was like, I don't remember this part. I don't remember Reese Witherspoon.
The beginning of Sweet Home
being in this
Alabama
movie.
is that when they were young, they kiss, like they're like little tiny small children, and they kiss, and then she gets struck by lightning because it was a lightning storm, and then like the lightning like strikes the sand, and then it like turns into glass, and then she like moves to New York and gets a famous like politician's son fiance, and then she moves back to Alabama because she was technically married to this guy, so this guy get divorced because he won't sign the papers, and she goes back to Alabama. And she like goes to this like glass company, and she's like, oh, it's so beautiful, I love these glasses, they're so expensive and nice. Turns out it's the Jake, I think his name is Jake, from her childhood, who's technically her husband, who just blows glass that gets struck by lightning, like the sand, and that's a whole thing. And then
okay, well, none of that is gonna happen to me.
That's unfortunate, or maybe fortunate. I don't know your views on glassware.
I don't have any strong views on glassware. I do have strong opinions that change, but glassware isn't one of those topics so far. Not yet, anyway.
Not yet.
I guess if that happened to me, I would develop views one way or the other.
I have strong views of this nasty ass perfume. I just can't stop smelling it because I'm like, what if it gets better, and it just never does? Okay, I hope you all smell better than I do. I hope you don't get struck by lightning, and I hope there's a marsh near you with a really hot smuggler in it, and that he just wants to see you naked all the time.
Honestly, those are the simple joys of maidenhood that I'm looking for.
Those are the simple joys of living in a marsh, of marshhood. The simple joys of marshhood.
Where are the simple joys of marshhood?
That's what we talked about today.
Okay, we're done. We're wrapping it up. We're actually done now. Goodbye.
The end.